Good morning, Fannie Faye Davis. Great to see you here. Rolling in. Jamie, howdy ho. Hey, Kim Luce. How are you? Hola. Good morning, Irene. Great to see you. Glad you're here. Good morning, John. Good morning, good morning. Welcome, welcome. Good morning, Sharon. I hope you are well. Great to see everybody. Yes, good. Well, thank you. Good. I am so glad. Morning, Shelby. I hope you are doing well. Hope you're doing well. Holding out. Keeping down the fort. Good morning, Priscilla. Vicky, good morning. Robin, good morning. Great to see you. Say hi to Wayne for me. That's great. So glad you're here. Good morning. Good morning, Kristen. Great to see you. I hope you are well. Good morning, Linda. Great to see you this morning. Glad things are going well. You're doing all right. Denise, good to see you. I hope Ken's there with you. Hi to you both. Hello. Good morning, everybody. Maggie Pereira in the house. Hello, Pereira clan. Good morning, Gail. Great to welcome. Morning, everybody. Good morning, Cecile. Good morning, Donna. Great to see you too. I'm so glad you're all here. That we might keep journeying with each other in this. That I just want to remind you that over these weeks, I don't know how long we've been doing this now. I haven't counted it up yet. I scare myself if I did. But I just noticed that you've seen these names come up and that you have had this group of people that will encourage you. And I will bet you dollars to donuts that if you messaged any one of these people on this message board, if you needed encouragement, they would give it to you. I will bet that. I know every one of them personally, and I know that every one of them, every person here, every family here has a heart for love, and has a heart for Christ, and has a heart to share and to love. And so, just remember that if you think you're alone right now, if you think you're abandoned, you are not. You've got this entire community that you've been journeying with. Amber J, the Hagen clan. Hello. I just brought a big smile to Chris over here. She's just like, so great that you are here. Awesome. Yes, I know. It does. And it sneaks out. That loneliness sneaks up on you too, Jamie. It is funny that way. It's so true. So let's begin this morning. We are continuing our journey through Holy Week. We're continuing our journey, and we find ourselves on Holy Saturday. Sometimes it's called Silent Saturday. And that this time of Saturday, if you remember yesterday, the last moment of, oh, we miss you, Chris. Oh, that's nice. And then this moment of when we saw Jesus on the cross, and comes to these moments of death, and at that 3 p.m, and the veil in the temple is ripped open. And Jesus' body is taken down from the cross, and Joseph of Arimathea spirit it away, and by about 6 o'clock that night, he is wrapped in the tomb. And it is that place that we pick up the story now. Wait a minute, Jesus is dead. How can there be a story? Now, I said yesterday, this is my favorite day of Holy Week, because I think this is the day, and maybe because it's the day that things begin to get a little more theological maybe than they are narrative driven of what we know in the physical story from testimony and people around. But I would submit to you that if Easter is to mean something tomorrow morning, something had to happen on this day. It's not just Silent Saturday. It's not just, Jesus kind of with his little laptop sitting in the tomb, waiting around with, playing solitaire and Minesweeper, waiting for like, oh gosh, is it Easter morning yet? No, there are things to be done. There are things to be done. And if you don't think this, I'm going to call on my Catholic brothers and sisters that came up in the Catholic tradition, many of you, and that in the course of the Mass you will say the Apostles' Creed. Now, we in the Congregational Way, not big on creeds, but we are informed by creeds. We don't abandon them. They have something to say to us. And so if you remember your creed, you can say it along with me. I believe in God, the Father Almighty, creator of heaven and earth, and in Jesus Christ, his only Son, our Lord, who was conceived by the Holy Spirit, born of the Virgin Mary, suffered under Pontius Pilate, was crucified and died and was buried. He descended into hell. Dun, dun, dun! This is that Holy Saturday is this moment that Jesus descends into hell. Now, let's talk about hell for a moment. We talk about hell in the 20th century, and the church has this little legacy of talking about hell as the place of where the bad people go, that sort of thing. Now, but for the ancients, and for Jesus in those times, and for even those who were writing the Apostles' Creed, however, 1,700 years ago, or whenever it actually gave birth, when they talk about hell, they talk about Sheol. They talked about or even at the very worst, they talked about Gehenna, the place of where they would basically, quite literally, the garbage dump. But Sheol, which in the Old Testament was this place that all of the people who were dead go after death. It was in the Greeks. The Greeks talked about Hades. Now, and they weren't the same places, so don't confuse them. The Jewish idea of Sheol, the place of the dead, was a real construct for them of what happens after death. That people continue to live, and that they go to this place called Sheol. They go to the bottom of the earth. They go to hell. Now, this is where it gets fun. Jesus goes to the place of the dead, and Jesus welcomes them home. You see, this is the beauty of this day, because the beauty of this day, it gives me goosebumps. It does. It gives me goosebumps because I know it. And how do I know this? Like, how do I know? I know it because it's so beautiful. I know it because of the same way I know that an Easter lily speaks to us of the resurrection, and it speaks to us of goodness. I know it because it is right and true. That if there were all of these people who lived prior to the coming of Jesus, how then would they be welcomed home? And it is this holy Saturday moment that Jesus ranges wide and far and gathers all of those whom have come and been lost. Those in the time of Noah, those in the time of Abraham, those in the time that when Jesus says those words, when he gets that little tricky thing about divorce, he says this little tricky thing about divorce. He said about the woman who had a bunch of husbands, and the Pharisees were trying to hang him up, and they say, she had 5 husbands, and all of this, and Jesus' response is this. He says, she is with, and they are with, the God of Abraham and the God of Isaac and the God of Jacob. He wasn't talking about it as a past tense thing. So we read that and we often think it's a past tense thing. It was a present tense thing. There's still the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. And it is Jesus' act that goes and welcomes everybody home. And this is what sets up Easter to be so powerful, because it's this moment where it's not just salvation for you and me, who know Jesus Christ. You know, there are evangelicals who will tell you, and we can get in fights about this. You want to talk to me about it? Please message me offline. I'll fight with you all day about it. I had no problem with that. And it's not about universalism. It's not saying that it doesn't matter how you live this life. That you know, everybody gets lollipops and fancy pants when the whole journey's over. No, the quality of our character matters. That's not what I'm saying either. But I'm saying Jesus extends to us grace no matter where we are, even to the depths of hell. And it is God's grace and God's love that keeps even the fires of hell burning, because they exist. They require God's existence. They require God's love to have existence. And I know that may sound odd, may sound weird, may sound huge, but I would submit to you, this is the most exciting day, because it's literally like the Blues Brothers moment of like, we're getting the band back together, that everybody's coming home, everybody's coming in, we're getting the great sax players of the old, we're getting the great drummers of old, we're getting everybody into it, and we are gonna go rock a concert on Easter morning that has never been heard. That's the exciting thing of Holy Saturday. Now, if you don't think so, and if you think it's extra biblical and stuff like that, a lot of people criticize this idea, thinking this is, that, because it often gets talked about as Silent Saturday. That the seed must spend time in the ground in order to blossom. Well, maybe so, but the seed, if you know your biology, is actually pretty darn busy while it's in the ground. It has things to do of its own. And there's this from 1 Peter. It's the 3rd chapter. Now, this is from Peter. Okay? Peter. This is Jesus's guy. The rock. The one who walks on water and sinks because he's a rock. It's a Jesus joke. Jesus was funny. It's one of the things we don't often get. This moment. And 1 Peter, 3rd chapter. This is Peter's letter. This is one of the critical things Jesus has to say. He front loads it in his letter. He says this: "For Christ also suffered for sins once for all, the righteous for the unrighteous, in order to bring you to God. He was put to death in the flesh, but made alive in the Spirit, in which also he went and made proclamations to the spirits in prison." Proclamations to the spirit in prison? Sheol. "Who in former times did not obey, when God waited patiently in the days of Noah, during the building of the ark, in which a few, that is 8 persons, were saved through water and baptism, which this prefigured, now saves you. Not as a removal of dirt from the body, but as an appeal to God for a good conscience through the resurrection of Jesus Christ, who has gone into heaven, is at the right hand of God, with angels, authorities, and powers made subject to him." And it goes on in the 4th chapter, and it ends with this line: "For this is the reason the gospel was proclaimed even to the dead, so that, though they have been judged in flesh as everyone is judged, they might live in the Spirit as God does." Friends, Holy Saturday is an exciting day, that we might live in the Spirit as God does. Think about that for a moment. To live in the Spirit as God does. If that isn't a goosebump moment, I don't know what is. That we, in this place between the cross and between the tomb, that we might see the spread of the love of God to the dead, to the lost, to the broken, to those in prison of spirit, that was getting and gathering all of the saints together for that rejoicing moment tomorrow morning, when Jesus is risen and Mary comes to the tomb and says, "He is not here, he is risen." That is what our hope is for this day. All right, friends, I know it got theological, we got off the story, but I believe that's the best part of the story in some ways. It is this wondrous uptaking of that which is to come, and this homecoming of all of us, into the grace and the Spirit, that we might live in the Spirit as God does. All right, friends. This is tomorrow is Easter morning. We will worship right here in this what has become our sanctuary, our digital sanctuary for the past few weeks at 10 o'clock in the morning. Please join us. We'll have some singing. We will have some prayers, and we will lift up the gospel and tell the greatest story ever told once again. So this is my hope. As far as next week goes, it is my hope that we are going to take a break. We're going to take a knee for a couple days from Monday and Tuesday, and we will be back with 11:11 on Wednesday. That we can get reset here. That we might kind of take a breath on what we have been through, and so come back to us Wednesday. It will be in the calendar, and we will make sure you all know. But come and worship with us tomorrow. We will bring in the Easter tide, whether we are gathered or we are together. Does not matter, for we are gathered. All right, friends. That is Holy Saturday for you. I am so pleased and so joyous that we have been on this journey together, and we continue on it. Peace and grace to you.